Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour on today, July 22nd. I always forget. We are excited to be here today on Rome EA Day, and we're going to be talking about UI Builder in Rome. But before we get into that, let's do some introductions. Lisa.
Hello there. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever. My name is Lisa Holenstein. I'm an outbound product manager for the Now platform. I've been with ServiceNow for about 2.5 years and about 5 years in the ecosystem in total.
All right, Chris.
Hello, glad to be back. My name is Chris Johnson. I am the design lead for UI Builder. Happy Rome Day.
Yay.
And I'm Brad Tilton. I'm a senior developer advocate with the developer program here at ServiceNow. I've been developing on the platform for almost 13 years now, and I've been an employee for almost 5. I am excited about today's show. But before we actually get into that, we have one more introduction to do, which is what are we drinking, Lisa?
I thought about it long and hard and decided for the rational choice. So I got an alcohol-free Adinger Weissbier. So it's a wheat beer from Bavaria, but it's alcohol-free because it's 11:30 at night.
So I'm drinking a Lakefront brewery. This is a local brewery in Milwaukee because I'm now living in Wisconsin. It's the River West Stein Amber Lager.
Wow.
That sounds awesome. I love amber lagers.
I have an athletic brewing company, Upside Dawn. It is also a non-alcoholic beer because I'm trying to be a little healthier these days. But all right. So today we're going to get into UI Builder and look at some of the new features in Rome, do a little bit of development with it. But before we get into all of that, today was Rome Early Availability Day. You can go upgrade your personal developer instance to Rome. I think it is taking a little while, like a few hours, but that is available. We also have a blog up on the developer blog. You can go to devlink.sn/blog, which is on my screen here. There we go. The first blog post up kind of goes through some of what's in the Rome release and how to upgrade. And then at the very beginning, we've embedded Chuck and Adam Stout talking about the Rome release in the Breakpoint podcast. So it's a great overview of the Rome release in that podcast. And then on Tuesday, there's going to be a Tech Now in the morning when we normally do Creator Toolbox. There will be a Tech Now where they're going to cover all of the highlights of the Rome release. So a couple of things to check out. And then for the next couple of months, we'll be doing deep dives into various parts of the Rome release. Like today, we're going to get into UI Builder. All right, so today we are going to get into UI Builder in Rome. We're going to show off some of the new things. Our use case today is I've got a recipe app that's kind of a companion app to a cooking management app that we have built on the show and done a few things with. So the recipe app is really, it's kind of for me to make myself remember. I've been cooking a lot lately, and I'll grab a recipe and cook something and we all like it, and then I'll completely forget where I found it. And so this is a chance for me to pull in recipes into one spot. And so we're going to kind of build out the experience of consuming one of those recipes with ingredients and different things. So yeah, that's where we're going to be today. Let me let me switch into the screen share, but anything you want to plug before we get into the screen share, either of you?
I was just going to say, let's get cooking.
Yay.
All right. I like it.
All the Rome things.
Let's see if I can hit these buttons at the same time.
New release things are always so exciting.
It kind of worked.
Awesome.
All right. So I think we can see enough of my screen here. All right. So this is a Rome instance. It's not a PDI. It is my employee instance because I wanted to get it working before the PDIs were available. So let me pull this around a little bit. There we go. All right, so I have an App Engine Studio app that I created a portal from, and I added some recipes into it. I kind of configured the homepage a little bit. We've got an evam in here, and then a list over here of favorite recipes. And if we look at this in action, it's fairly simple right now. So I could go in and look at the smoked pork butt. This is a very simple recipe because it's mine, and I don't get very creative with them. So that's that. So some of the things that we want to do to this page is I'd like to do a little bit of styling with it. So it's not just a bunch of text on a page. And then we want to add like some ingredients over here, and there's a picture, and then I have recipes related to each other. So there are some things that there's a baked beans recipe that's really easy that we like, that I usually cook along with a pork butt, and so I want to display those related recipes here as well. So that's kind of the goal for today. And then I have a stretch goal, but I don't think we're quite going to make it there. So the first thing that I want to do is show off a new page. I guess it's a new page template that's in the Rome release.
It is indeed.
Is the theme preview. And Chris, do you want to tell us a little bit more about this page?
Yeah, this page actually came out of conversations, Brad, that you and I had on this very show at one point in time around better ability to preview your theme. And so what we created in Rome was a template that allows you to see a large number of components on a single page. So as you're working on your theme, you can see very quickly the changes that are made and how they apply to different components on the page. And so when you copy it out, you can edit the contents of that page. So you basically have a page with a lot of components on it. And it's tied to the current theme of the experience. And if you go into platform and make changes, you can see those changes when you refresh the page, and they'll also show up in the UI builder as well.
That's cool. I like this a lot.
Handy.
This is great. So can I see from this page, so we've got things like the primary. Can I see what the theme variable is that this is using easily?
Yeah, so if you go to the Styles tab, you can see that this particular object, let's see here. Actually, yeah, it would be on the config tab, and you can edit the CSS right there. And then when you do, the now code editor appears, and you can see all the different variables that are used. This one happens to be using background color of primary 0, which is the lightest background color. And then it's using the border radius variable from the theme. So if you change your border radius in the theme, it'll update this box. And then the color of the text is also governed by your theme. In this case, it's primary 20, which is like a very dark color. And then if you go to the variables tab here, it'll actually show you all the different variables that are coming out of your theme. So if you want a quick cheat sheet, you've got this here too, which is pretty handy. Lots of theme variables.
This is very nice. So this is new, right? This CSS, like this button wasn't there before. Is that right? It was only the Styles tab.
Well, so this particular component is the stylized text component. So we're making use of a couple of different things here in order to make it easier to see different stuff on this particular page. So this component is available in Quebec, but the integration with the theme that we're kind of showing off here is new in Rome.
Okay, so the newness in Rome here is that I can say, instead of hard coding this stuff, I can just say, hey, go look at the theme, so that if I need to change it, I don't have to come change every component.
Yep. Change in one place and apply in lots of different places.
Great. So I want to take this primary background color and I want to apply it to that recipe page, I think, if we can do that.
That is so much more handy than this notorious community article that helped you find the right variable, CSS variable for the UI 16 themes. Like you'd had to search which attribute would configure which color. This is a lot better.
So can I use the variable here? Oh, I can.
Ooh.
Yes, indeed.
That's pretty great. Let's save that and see if it...
It did.
Oh, that does look better. We need some padding, but it looks so much better. I like it. And so now we're kind of matching here. That is for somebody who's kind of design challenged like me. I can't like create my own theme and make it look good. I know when something doesn't look good, and I kind of know that this needs some padding, but just being able to go grab something from the existing theme to make my page look better is great.
Yeah, and one thing about using the code editor over there in the styles panel is it actually also has loaded the theme variables there too. So if you start typing, dash or in particular context, it will know what variables there are in the theme, and you can actually start auto completing against the entire theme right there in the code editor in UI Builder.
Nice. So I could have just auto completed the background color.
Yeah, and actually, if you want a little bit of space, there's a little icon up there above the code editor that'll pop it out into its own little modal. Nice. And so you can get a little bit more room for autocomplete. So you could just get rid of the dash now and replace it. And as you start typing dash, that's kind of the prefix for all the variables. And you can see all of the options that are available to you.
Ooh. That is nice. Now I forgot what it was called.
Do you still have it in your paste?
Oh, I probably do. Let's see. Let's go color, and then we'll use, let's see what the secondary was. Color, secondary 0. How does that look?
It's just a little bit more blue.
A little different. That's great. The autocomplete, I think, is super helpful. So I know I have been asked for like a library of those before, and always pointed at people at that blog post that eventually, pointed them to I think there's a Git repo that has all searchable list somewhere.
Trying to add it in context, make it easier so you don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah, that's nice. All right, so just looking at the chat. Can I change the logo today? We have changed the logo on the show before, Phil. So maybe I probably have a logo somewhere. So one of the other things that I wanted to show was the new, not the filter, but the new condition builder. So let's look at what do I want to list? So my recipe has some ingredients, and I want to show those in a list over on the side here. So I want it to be pretty simple looking. So let's go ahead and hide. Well, let's just find. So we've got an ingredients table. And then the filter. So I want active ingredients. I think let's get rid of active ingredients because I'm not sure whether I actually populated that field. But what I do want is I want ingredients that belong to this recipe. And so before Rome, there was not a way for me to bind a value inside of the filter. And I believe the reason for that was because the filter was actually iframed in. It was the platform filter. So it just generated an encoded query. So it wasn't dynamic. So now I can just say, hey, look at the, where's my page? Context. It's recipe ID.
Shouldn't it?
I can just start typing.
I think it was the first one you
Was
had
it the
there.
first one? Oh yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
That's right. So let's apply and see if that helps. So I also don't want to
Nice.
limit it. Just call it 20. And then I really only need the ingredient column.
You just have to click it.
That's right.
That's all.
It makes me think that it's a slush. Yeah, so this looks like the right stuff. I need some salmon. We're gonna make a brine. Oh, and that's all that's in this recipe. It's just the brine. Okay. And
you want to hide the header too, so we don't see all active tasks. It's the second prop down there. Yeah, there you go.
And I think that looks good. We don't need to set up the links yet. I think ultimately what I want to do with this app is like pop up a modal with all the ingredients, and then I can check the ones that I have, and then it'll create me a shopping list with the stuff that I need, like from multiple recipes. Sounds like a nice thing. So let's save that and make sure that it works. Over here, let's go back and try it for one of the other recipes. If we load. This instance has been running kind of slow today. Let's look at my watermelon and mint salad. Yeah, that looks right.
There's watermelon.
What?
That sounds there's watermelon in the list, so it must be the right
Yes.
ingredient.
I don't think I use watermelon in any of those other recipes, so this looks right. All right, so the condition builder is nice. I think there's some more stuff in there too. So let's take a look at what else looks new. So related list condition, greater than area. I watched this TOI a while back that explained what this was. No, I can't remember. But the sort is nice. Undo button, that looks in. So if I instead was like active, what if I, undo looks good.
You also have the ability to save filters for later. So if you reuse it, you can save it, and then you can use the use existing filter dropdown to pull in that list. So you don't have to keep typing the data binding if you want to reuse it over and over again.
That is very helpful. I've definitely run into some UI Builder apps where I am doing the same query over and over again. That's helpful. Let's save this. So I think we are going to use this again, actually. So let's say this recipe. I don't know. So now it's saved, and we can add something else. So one of the other things that I want to add, I kind of want a, yeah, I think I want a container here. So let's take the list and put it in the container. All right. So after the list, what was the other thing that I wanted to add? Oh, there's related recipes. So let's see how this one works. I think this one I'm going to need the title. And then I have an in many to many. That's this one. And then let's see. So I'm guessing that my filters are table specific. I didn't think about that. So this is a different table, so I don't think I can reuse my filter. But why do I have recipe on here twice? Oh, that's right. So we're
M to M.
Yeah, and it's recipe to recipe, which was confusing. So I want either way. So let's go first or second. And that is correct for this recipe because it doesn't have any related recipes. So on this, I don't know, let's see what this is going to look like returning those recipe fields. I do think I need to set this up a little differently, but we can see that my pork butt, my watermelon salad goes nicely with the pork butt. It's kind of heavy and the salad's light. So it's a good combo. And then if I went back and looked at the pork butt, then we would get, I think, the salad and the beans with it.
I think you didn't hit it.
You know what? I don't have this set up. That's why this
That makes a lot of sense.
But my pork butt doesn't have any ingredients, which is unfortunate. It did have ingredients.
We have a great question in the chat. Maybe Chris can come to that. And the question was how easy that was, or hard, I guess, to switch out this component, the filter component in UI Builder with the new version.
So let me make sure that I understand the question. Is the questioner asking how easy it was it for the UI Builder development team to swap out the iframe version for the new component? I don't know the answer to that question because I didn't do it. I'm not a developer. I'm the designer, but it was not the entire release. I know that for a fact. And we didn't build the component, so another team built it, and we were able to leverage the capabilities that came with the component and integrate those into our specific use case.
Yeah, and the back end of this question is, is everybody developing on Now Experience paying off for, product teams? And I think the answer to that is yes, because of what you just said. A different team built that. And since it was on Now Experience or on the UI framework, then you can utilize it anywhere else on the framework. And that's where, pre this UI framework, we had teams just building things like an Angular JS, and they may not be compatible with something else. And so that's one of the big strengths about this for us internally, I think, is that it's all standardized and we can kind of use things. And, I think there's even some governance process around the components to make sure that they are standardized and work. There's
also styling guidelines and all kinds of things. So there are guidelines around how those should look and make sure that they fit into the overall styling of the experience framework and how we create the baseline theming and looks of things and these kinds of things. I remember that when we were preparing our labs for knowledge, one of our inbound folks told me and showed me this, like the original filter that was just the condition builder. And they already talked about replacing that with the Now Experience components. So way back in spring, when we were just starting with Quebec, it was already in the plans, in the works to get the Now Experience component in there. So it was planned for a while.
Yeah, and I mean, another example of that would be the Now Code Editor component, right? So we didn't need to build, all the syntax highlighting and editing of CSS and JSON and all the different things that, you can edit inside of the UI Builder JavaScript. That would have been a significant amount of work for our team to build that. We didn't have to do that work. We just, leveraged the component that the other team created. We configured it for our particular needs and added it to the UI. And, these are very straightforward things to do.
Let's look at the at the now code editor component and see what we can do with it. So I think there's around 6 new components in this in the Rome release, and one of them was a code editor, which I believe is the same code editor. So I'm on a slightly older Rome build than what you would have in a PDI. So hopefully that icon is a different icon. But yeah, here's the code editor.
Yeah, and for comparison, if you want to pull up the code, the script panel in UI Builder, you know, you'll see the similarities if you added a page script to the user experience up above and the user experience down below. It's the same component behind the scenes.
Yeah, so that is cool. So building your own experience, if you need to provide a code editor in that experience, it's the same, you know, code editor that we're using in UI Builder. And I guess that'll be the same.
Choose your language too, right?
Yeah, that's what.
It's not just JavaScript. Yeah.
Yeah, JSON. That's nice. But it's not. It won't be just UI Builder. I mean, this is the Now Experience code editor, or I guess we're the Now code editor or the NCE. I heard you refer to it as Chris. So we'll start saying NCE so we can be with the cool kids. But this is you know, what you'll see across all the experiences in, you know, built on Now Experience. Yeah. So let's look at it a little bit. I can choose server or client. So if I do server, I can use debugging, which this makes sense. I am kind of curious to see how the debugger works. Disable word wrap, record type, no table. I'm assuming I need to give it something or it won't actually do anything, but I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what it'll let me do here.
Would you need to hook up events to it?
Yeah, I wonder. So I mean, ideally you would, yeah, that's right. Ideally you'd bind it to a table with a script field, right? So
probably.
Can I do business rules? That's just like, I don't think
of course not.
I'm in scope also, so I don't think you can edit a business rule from scope. Yeah, so basically, you know, you need a record that has a script field to do this against. And then, you know, you can write this, and then let's see what the events are. So content changed, focus changed, full screen toggled, editor mode changed. And then I guess you'd take you'd have like a save button that takes the value of this or the payload or something, and then, you know, adds it to whatever record you're running it against.
Yeah, I do think so. You know, the way that we're using it in the UI Builder, it is saving to a local state in real time, and so obviously the whole UI Builder experience, you know, app has a save button, and that's when it's actually committed to the server. But you know, you can make changes to the styles in the code editor. There's no save button there in that context. It's just saving in the local state that we maintain, and then once you're kind of done with the changes you're going to make, we commit that whole set of changes up to the server.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think so. I see some questions like, can I pass it a glide record? You know, can we use glide scoped evaluator? I think the Now code editor is a good candidate for a CTV, because I think we have exhausted my knowledge of it, at least.
Yeah, one cool thing that I saw in the release notes about this thing is that you can actually compare scripts. So side-by-side comparison to this thing. But we'll have to find out how to do this, if you have to put 2 of them on the same page or something.
I think there's a config prop. So if you go back to UI Builder, I think there was a toggle in the configuration that I saw, and I don't use the Now code editor very often. So, you know, but I believe there was like a mode, an editor mode default.
They're diff side by side. Awesome.
And so I would imagine the compare with is another sysID or something. And so that you pass in, you know, one value, and then you pass in the other value, you can see what the diff is.
That
is very cool.
now I'm while doing this, I'm trying to think of a use case where I would need to let somebody write code. I can't, but we'll get there and we'll do it on a CTB, I think. So that's neat. That's one of the new components. There are, I'm trying to remember, and there are some new components, and then there's a number of components that were updated in the Rome release. Like I know the calendar component was one of them that got updated. But that's all in the release notes. If you have not seen the release notes, you can go to the doc site. And if you're looking for new things in Rome, this is a question that always gets asked. So let's just do it. If I am looking for what's new just in Rome, I can go to Rome. I can go to release notes. And the trick is release notes from upgrading from Quebec. It doesn't really matter if you're not upgrading from Quebec. This is just showing you the delta from Quebec to Rome. If I were to say upgrading from Paris, it's going to show me combined release notes from Quebec and Rome. So when we changed this, that was a thing that that a lot of people had questions about. I think UI Builder is App Engine, and oh no, we want now Experience. Yeah, so here we go. There's 5 new components. The code editor was one of them. And then we also have some new page templates. And then a lot of components were updated, or not a lot, but quite a few. And the calendar component, I think, is one that I want to explore a little bit, because I know there were some issues that I had with it in the Quebec release. All right, so we've still got some time left. One of the things that I wanted to do with my recipe page, sure, let's save it, was I want to add a picture to it. So we had a live code a while back where somebody was asking about adding pictures to Now Experience, and I was trying to think of whether I had, or adding pictures in UI Builder. I was trying to think of whether I had done it. So there is an image component. And the image source. So I think my image source is let's see. Let's see if our, oh, I don't want to sign in though. It's old. Here, let me pull it up in my other browser.
Yeah, the learn more links are release specific, so that's actually a Rome link.
Well, Rome should be okay on the developer site now, right? Because we just went through EA, or does that not happen until GA? Yeah,
I think Docs is live with the Rome pages.
Yeah, developer is still not live in the component playground with Rome. There's not a lot of documentation in this one. Let's see. What is it expecting? All right, so
image source should be just a fully qualified URL.
Yeah, my image. So let's look at this one. So this is an image field, which is an attachment. But let's see, I mean, it has to have a, so there is a source. Oh, I think the data resource returned it to us in the right format, if I remember correctly. Picture, so the value, yeah. So I think this display value is our URL that we want. So let's see if that works. And that is called, it's data recipe record result. Then we want picture and the display value. And let's see if that worked. It did work.
That looks so good.
Bada bing, bada boom, bada bang. It's a big picture.
I'm not great at resizing my pictures before I upload them.
But it worked.
There. Now we have a picture over there. So that was pretty easy. That was, I think it was Phil that asked that question, if I'm remembering correctly. There you go, Phil. on a previous live code. So let's take a look and make sure that it's there. All right, that ingredients is bugging me, so I'm going to generate some ingredients here based on my ingredients. There we go. Now we have some ingredients. So still not the prettiest page in the world. Maybe we could put my picture in here somewhere. But let's see if there's anything else on my Rome list. Chris, you have anything you want to call out before I?
Yeah. So I mean, it's not visible. It's a completely invisible feature, but performance of the pages built by UI Builder is improved in Rome. So we've made some changes and tweaks to the way that we actually construct these pages and the source code that we use and those sorts of things. And so performance is definitely improved especially for very complex pages between the Quebec release and the Rome release. So that's another important improved feature that doesn't show up anywhere, but it's very helpful.
Nice. All right. And then I was looking at something and I thought, hey, there's some new stuff there.
Was it the columns UI now supporting dot walking?
Oh, that might have been it.
It's the one below it.
Oh, in the columns. Oh, that is nice. Yeah.
So previously, this would only autocomplete against the currently selected table, and it wouldn't let you go and dot walk. But we have a new dot walk component that another team has built that we integrated, and it just worked. And that gives us the ability to dot walk right here. And so you can traverse tables and do all sorts of things that dot walking enables you to do.
So does that work in here? It does not look like in the data resource. We had a recent live code where they were trying to get some related fields from the data resource, but that looks like it's more of a data resource thing.
Yeah, but that's a great piece of feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's basically if you want something from an extended table, you either have to write another data resource or you have to do your own GraphQL, which is not super crazy. But yeah, so you can't do it through here. Ashley, what we were talking about was in the columns. Ashley was the one that ran into the issue on live code last week with the dot walked.
Yeah, and this experience is also it's better from like a UX perspective as well, where we now support drag and drop. It's vertically arranged, and so it's just a much easier way to arrange your complex list columns and do those sorts of things. It was possible before; it was just a little bit more funky, and this is better.
Nice. So so now you can rearrange the columns by dragging.
Yeah, so if you add 2 or 3 columns, it's just one vertical list.
Let's try that. So if I want ingredients and then sure, let's take the I don't know why we would want that in the list, but I could change them. Yeah, I like that. Any lessons learned, do's and don'ts for anyone working on UIB since it's been out since NQ? Performance. I don't know. I don't have a lot of great lessons learned from working on UIB so far. Yeah. But I don't know, Lisa, do you have anything from doing your lab or anything like that?
Yeah, I went through some more documentation and also some things that we're going to put in the an upcoming UI Builder training. And one of the things that will go in there is just like tiny recommendations, like if you want to style your components, it is better if you start, of course, with the theme. And then if you want to go deeper, you should start with maybe applying styles to the body. So just going top down before you go in and style each individual component. So always think about where you want to go with your styling. Go with themes first, extend themes to override specific things for a specific portal maybe, or a specific workspace. And then before you style an individual component, rather go and style the main container that is wrapped around it, so that you would apply those styles to everything that is in that container, and to not get it too complicated, I guess. I don't know if that helps, but that was one of the things we put in there.
That's a good point. So Ashley mentioned we did learn about versioning last time. So it was actually a really good, if you go back and watch, I mean, that live code was great, the Lady Coding Happy Hour in general.
It's always a hoot.
But if you go back, they ran into an issue where they were both editing the page at the same time and saved over some stuff. And so they went back to the sysux macroponent record. So each page has a record on the platform, and most of the page is just a big JSON. And so they just rolled back to the previous version of that record because it's tracked and tracked in sys metadata, and we're able to recover those changes. So just something to think about. And then some extra feedback is to add an undo button to UI Builder, Ashley says. So that is a good idea.
Not the first time we've heard that feedback, but I will definitely take that back to the team. Yes, did we mention I think Control S to save?
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Right,
well, I mean, you got to make a change in order to save, but when that blue button is
really?
blue, yeah, like really.
That is so awesome.
Let's just call this. I don't even care if I spelled it right. Oh, it did work. I think that was one of the main things that I missed about the service portal widget editor was the Control S. So that's great.
Yeah. Were you going to talk about tabs today too, Brad?
So I wasn't planning on it, but I would be happy to talk about tabs. I haven't done as much with tabs, so you might have to walk me through it a little bit. So we have some time.
Yeah, no, if you'd like, I think that as far as components go, one of the biggest changes to componentry was the way that tabs work. So in Quebec, tabs were very much a page within a page experience relying on the viewport capabilities. But in Rome, we added the ability to also treat the tabs as a kind of just a container. And so if you want the viewport based experience, you can do that and get all the benefits and features that has. But if you want to make it as sort of very simple and keep everything on the context of the single page that you're on, that is the default behavior in Rome for tabs.
Let's see. Oh, this was a read-only page. I was going to say I have a page that has some tabs in it, I believe.
I think that's the list nav component.
Oh,
so that's a specific component. But if you go back to your recipes page, we could add another tab onto that one. So maybe let's say we decided we wanted to put the picture and the related recipe in a tab below instead, because we just really wanted more room for the image, right? So let's add a tab after the list of ingredients there, or the list of not there in the main content, the list of instructions. Sorry.
Okay, over here.
Yeah.
Where are we? That's, I think, this container. Nope. There we go.
Yeah. So it's just called tabs. And so if you're used to the way that it worked previously, it was a very much a viewport centered experience, and you would create pages and those sorts of things. But in this default mode now, it's just a container, a tabbed container basically. And so I've got untitled tabs. It's already added me a tab. So maybe change the name of that one to like picture or something.
All right. Yeah. Ooh, do we have a, I bet there's a,
I think it's called image.
yeah. Oh, there we go. Then
So
we can-
the cool thing here is because you're not using viewports and it's all in the context of the page, now all you got to do is just click on your image and drag it down and it'll work.
No way.
Oh, so if we added a second tab where we put the related recipes.
Yep.
I would just do this.
That opens up a whole new world for my property management app.
I'm my brain is going.
My brain is going at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, so a couple things here real quick. Yes, you can definitely drag those components over there now. And you can stick it in there and you can do that. But this is the first example in UI Builder where the stage is actually interactive. So you can click on the picture tab now, right on the stage, and
Awesome.
go to that. Is it?
Okay, let's save it and see if something needed to happen.
I wonder if your old build. Oh, okay, there it goes. Yeah, see,
Yeah,
works.
just needed some time.
Yeah, okay.
That is nice.
Make me a liar there. Yeah, so this is normally components are not interactive on what we call the stage, or the page that you're building. But in this case, you want to be able to click on the tab and go to that tab and drag and drop into it, and that works. And you can interact with it and add a bunch of tabs. You can also set the default tab. So maybe you want related recipes to be the default. So that'll be the default on load. You can also, these are all properties of the tab component. So, tab label max width, you can set those things. You can have the tabs span the entire width of the page if you want. That is useful in certain cases. You can also hide the tab labels and just use icons. So that's like icon tabs.
Okay.
So, this is all capabilities that already existed with the tabs component before, but it's just, this is the configuration experience. And in the case where you want to go to viewport tabs, which is, there's specific reasons why you want to use viewports. And so you just add your tab component and go to the 3-dot menu in the config panel. And there's a switch to viewport, replace with viewport tabs button. And that's how you get to the viewport capability.
So the viewports are basically like entire pages, right?
Correct.
You're showing like a full page in a viewport. So I guess that would be if you had the same content you wanted to show in multiple places, you'd make a page out of it and show it in a viewport.
Yeah, the other reason to use viewports is they are regions that plugins can inject content into. And so you can create pages where plugins that you don't own can actually put content into it. So the workspace record page is an example where its tabs are using viewports, and there are certain plugins that install that actually add additional tabs to that page without the plugin owner needing to take ownership and do all those sorts of things. And so it's very extensible and powerful for those sorts of use cases.
Yeah, so I guess for a customer, if you had, multiple groups working on the same experience, that would be helpful where different groups could own the different viewports.
The other nice thing is that because they're pages and because they're really behind the scenes, variants in pages, you can actually tie what's displayed inside of the tab to applicability. So I could have my, manager's variant of the contents of the tab and my agent variant of the contents of the tab. And because it's using all that same capability, you get all that stuff for free. That's not something that we can do here with the simple tabs, but you don't need that all the time.
Yeah, that's a great point. If I wanted to show something different to a different type of audience, I'd have to do some, I'd have to mess with the conditions, and then the more components I have, the more complicated that gets. So that's a good point. So let's look at this one. I want to All right. So yeah, we defaulted to the recipes. I can click on the picture. Nice.
And of course, because it's just a property of the component, you could actually even tie that to a URL param. So you could actually, have the URL update and do all the kind of fun stuff that all entails. So, I mean, if you want to get real fancy, you can do that too.
Yeah. So I could have the URL could tell me which one should be the default or, yeah, that's great.
Can you set the parameter when clicking on one of the tabs so that the URL changes?
Ooh,
Yeah.
probably. Is there an event tab item select?
Nice.
Yeah. So yes, of course. Yeah, you can definitely update the URL in real time so that, you could change the tab and then copy the URL, send it to your friend, and then they would get exactly what you're saying with.
Oh, I've seen that. That's in the playbook component now. You can actually drill down to a specific activity or stage, I guess, for a playbook. So you can link not just the record page, but the playbook at a specific point to another person.
Which, I mean, is great. Super powerful.
It is.
I'm going to fix this because it's bothering me. What were we showing? Oh, that's the ingredients. Oh, it lost its table. I was clicking too much. We do have a question. I don't know, Chris, if you know the answer to this, but the way that the condition builder is displayed in UI Builder, is UI Builder using a viewport for that, or is there just some sort of hard-coded UI Builder thing?
So I'm not sure that I understand the question. Is the question sort of how we're getting this component into UI Builder? Is that how I should interpret it, or is it something different?
Yeah, I think so. So I guess the question might be: is this like a modal viewport? Is this a viewport modal, or is it something different because it's UI Builder?
So obviously I didn't write the code, so But what I think is going on here is it's just actually just a standard modal, and it's got that now experience component on it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So if you're calling the same component in different places, you might not necessarily need a viewport for it because you're just passing properties under the component.
Yeah. So what's going on, I think, basically is that edit filter button is passing some data, based on what the current state is, into that modal, and then the modal is displaying the component using that data.
Also, as far as I know, UI Builder was not built with UI Builder. Yeah. It uses Now Experience components and uses the framework and everything, but it's not actually built in UI Builder.
That is true. UI Builder was not built with UI Builder. It's kind of difficult to build something when that thing doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know, but it's similar with AES, I guess. AES also has those components, but it wasn't built with UI Builder.
Yes, that's true. Teams are definitely exploring ways to use UI Builder to build things like that. And Catalog Builder is an example of something that some of the stuff there was actually they used UI Builder to build it.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, we've got about 5 minutes left. I had a stretch goal, which was my ingredient thing. But I think some backend stuff needs to be built out for that anyway. But I did see a question from, I think it was from Phil at one point, about the app itself. So I do have kind of some grand ideas for this app, like maybe all the recipes live in a Git repo, and anybody can take the app and put it in their instance and pull the recipes in and hack on it and do whatever. But maybe we'll get there at some point. That'd be a good dev MVP project, I think.
Maybe I'll make you a logo.
Ooh, that would be awesome. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Let's see how gracefully I can do it. Where are we? Stop the share. Oh, that's not as bad. It's going the other way anyway. All right. Well, we've got a few minutes left. So any more questions in the chat? I know Ashley had a question. Oh yeah, so Ashley was talking to Phil about collaborating on records and overriding pages and things like that. So we have a few minutes left. Any other, UI builder questions? Anything like that? I guess we can go Rome overall, although there's going to be a lot of good Rome overall content in the Tech Now on Tuesday. So the Tech Now link is devlink.sn/ I want to say TN88, maybe TN88 reg is the registration link. Chuck's pretty good about using those, but it is linked to in our blog post from today. So if you haven't checked out the blog, go ahead and check it out. Again, the Breakpoint podcast with Adam Stout talking about Rome, our Tech Now that's happening on Tuesday. We did kind of a quick summary of what you might be looking for, what you can expect to see in Rome. But we are going to have content. We will be doing live coding happy hour every Thursday afternoon at the same time through the end of early availability. It will all be about different Rome content. I know we're going to hit on things like flow error handling, headless ATF. I think Andrew is going to come on a CTB and talk to us about some of the new dev tools, source control, plugins, things like that. So we have a lot of good content lined up, and so check it out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, all those sorts of things. So before we go, let's go ahead and rate our beers and give people some time to ask me questions if they have them. So Lisa, how was your non-alcoholic beer?
It's good as always. It's a solid choice if you want to go with a non-alcoholic beer. So this one gets a really good 4 for me. It's a good one. It doesn't have alcohol though, so it can't be higher.
Nice. Chris, how about you?
I think that I'm also going to go with like a 4.1, 4.2 on this. It's a good amber. It's not the best amber, but it's good amber, and I like it. Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to give, so I've tried a bunch of non-alcoholic beers lately. I think this is the best one I've had. So I'm going to give it a 4 because I kind of feel like that's about as high as they can go. Lisa. But it was also good. All right. So who is Andrew? Great question. I don't even remember his last name. So we'll see. When he comes on the show, we'll have to ask him.
He's my favorite Andrew and now my colleague, so you won't get him back.
Lisa stole him.
That is not true. He stole you first.
All right. Well, thanks Lisa for staying up late with us. Thanks Chris for joining and providing lots of great knowledge and content. And thanks everybody for watching. Again, check out the blog. We've got a lot of content coming, and have a great Friday and weekend. All right. Bye, everyone.
On the road.
Bye.
Bye.